Hey there again, everybody. This is the self-described cybersecurity graybeard coming at you again with episode 9. I'm going to take a little bit of a different tack this week and talk about cybersecurity professional tips and interpersonal growth. I had the good fortune of attending a local community college for a career day, and I talked with a number of individuals that were really between the ages of 20 and 25, some that were a little bit older, but I heard the same themes over and over. So I want to go over some of that here today with you guys, help you realize you're not alone. So basically, we're going to talk about personal growth and personality styles, the fog of war, and some other items that I've come across over the years that I want to try and help you all with. Before I do that, though, again, I wanted to thank everybody. I'm approaching nearly 1,000 listens and views between YouTube and my podcast, so thank you. Definitely continue to share this, like it, and put it out there. Really love the emails coming in, cybergraybeard@gmail.com. You can also go to my website at cybergraybeard.com and you can just fill out a contact sheet there as well. But the questions that come in really do help me figure out some of the topics. This topic really, though, is about my meeting with the students the other day at a local community college. Also, interestingly enough, it ties directly into one of my daughter's boyfriends. He's in the same boat as so many of you, and I think it's just important for everybody to realize you're not alone. It's really tough between 18 and 27. You know, when you're in school, when you're a kid, mom and dad pay for everything. It's all right there for you. And now, boom, 18, 19, 20, you got to figure out what you're going to do with your life. And even at 24, 5, 6, 7, even if you have a 4-year degree, it's kind of like, where do I go from here? The important thing is you're not alone. Everybody struggles. We're not born with a silver spoon, and I struggled when I graduated college. I had a degree in economics back in the early 90s. Recession was going on. I had no idea what I was going to do. I mean, what do you do with a degree in economics? I didn't want to teach. Computers were coming out, and I was blessed to fall into technology. And one opportunity led to another, and now here I am, almost 30 years later. The cybersecurity graybeard with a solid career, but it wasn't easy, and it's not. And if everything was easy, if anything was easy, we'd all have it. So to succeed, you need to push forward. Again, you're not alone, and you need to push forward. So it's important also to understand that you're not bound by the decisions you make, really at any time. I mean, unless you do something terrible, and professionally, you can't. One of the individuals that I talked to, he's 25. He is taking cybersecurity classes at a community college, and he's concerned. He's like, how do I compete with 4-year degree students? How do I compete with 19 and 20-year-olds that have 5 years on me? And I asked him, what are you doing? What's going on in your life? And he said, well, I manage a Jimmy John's, and before that I worked putting in carpet, and I helped build a nice new hotel out by the airport. And I said, that's great. Those are really good skills. You don't throw that away. You don't think that the years from 20 to 25 when you could have been in school are for naught. He's been a leader. He's been a manager. He has been involved with teamwork. He's had to deal with customer service and customer complaints. All of those skills translate into cybersecurity. So it's not just he's a manager at Jimmy John's or he works in a retail store. I got my start in a retail store. Right after I graduated college, I managed a software store, and I was making $10 an hour. Even back in the 90s, that was not easy to live on, but I found a way, and you will too. So just realize the skills that you have and that what you're working on does matter and it does translate. Team building, interpersonal communication, problem solving, troubleshooting. If you're laying carpet, you have a problem. There is too much carpet and not enough space. How do you solve that? You have a process to follow. If you're working as a plumber and you have somebody with a sink and it's not in correctly and you have to replumb the bottom, you have to redesign it. That translates into cybersecurity. So understand that what you're doing is not just in that field. So many skills come across. So find the skills that you're working for. And if you don't know how to translate it, send me an email. Ask a question. You are not alone. I want to talk about something else. It's called the fog of war. Many of us are gamers, and we know about the fog of war in gaming. But the fog of war is real. It's not just a military strategy. It's not just a military situation. The fog of war is what we deal with every day, all the time with interpersonal communication. So if I get into an argument with my wife about something, I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know how she's feeling. I may have some insight into it, but something might have happened at work or something may be going on with one of the kids that I don't know about. And then I start to infer that she's mad at me because I made a mistake, when in reality, there's something else going on entirely. Translate it to work. I send my boss a note. He doesn't respond. Did he not respond because I made a mistake and he's mad at me? Did I not do something? Is he not responding because he's on an airplane? Is he not responding because he took the day off and didn't tell me? It's the fog of war. We all make assumptions and guesses about what's happening, and most of the time we're wrong. So understand, when you're at work, when you're at school, when you're dealing with people professionally and personally, that we don't know everything that's going on the other side. If you're brought into a project and they're not giving you all the information and they're asking you for data, but you don't know what's going on, you start to get frustrated with the seller or with the project manager, and you start to realize that, maybe it's not about me. And that's really hard. Everybody always thinks it's about themselves. Usually it's not. There's usually something else going on. Maybe you haven't heard back from the seller or the PM because they're having a disagreement about interpreting what the client really wants. Again, it's the fog of war. They're having their own meetings. They're doing their own thing. I am not aware of it. So I should not impose my insecurities on that situation, and understand that there are other things going on. That leads to another important idea, concept, have it what you will. I learned this from an anthropology professor at the University of Colorado, and I'm really sorry I don't remember her name. I was up there a few years ago when I took my daughter for orientation. She was one of the best speakers I've ever seen. It was no doubt that she was a professor at a world-class college. Yes, I think University of Colorado at Boulder is world-class. You can pillory me for that if you'd like. What she talked about was your inner self and your outer self. People see my outer self and they go, gosh, cybersecurity graybeard, you're on top of it. You've got a great job and a great life and everything's wonderful and you're smart and you're doing this. And I'm sitting here, and as the professor said, I'm a hot mess inside. I don't have all the confidence all the time inside. On the outside, I project it, and that's very important. We need to project confidence, otherwise people aren't going to rely on us. They're not going to trust us. So even if inside we have insecurities, understand that people don't see your inner self unless you're just walking around as a hot mess and freaking out about everything. And you very rarely see that along the streets. When you see people getting into a cab or into an Uber or onto the train or at the airport, standing tall, walking, but inside they may be freaking out. You don't know that. It's very important to understand that people judge one another off of their outer self. We judge ourselves off of our inner self. Don't make the mistake of thinking that other people see your inner self all the time, because they don't. So when you're insecure and when you're scared or not sure of things, that's normal and it's understandable. And the people that you're dealing with don't see those insecurities. So while I may be sitting here not knowing what my next sentence is going to be, you all are sitting there going, wow, he knows what he's talking about. He's pulling it right off the top of his head. And yes, I can do that. I have a lot of experience with it. But also I have my own insecurities, as do you, and as does everybody watching this, everybody at work, everybody at home. Just again, make sure that you're not judging yourself off of your inner self, because other people are not. They see the confidence in you, they see what you're doing, and they want you to move forward with that projection and understand that you do have confidence and capabilities and abilities that you may not see, but other people see them. So again, it's tough. 18 to 27 is a tough time. What you're doing at work today, you're not bound to. You can move forward. You can change. Heck, even if you're 35, 45 or me. I mean, I think about maybe I'll shut it all down and go open a sports bar somewhere. I can do that. I have the ability. I can get some backing. I am not bound at running a sports bar because I've been working in IT for 30 years. You're not bound working at a Jimmy John's or at a retail store or selling clothes. If you want to get into cybersecurity, get into cybersecurity. Go take some classes, get some certifications. I've talked about that before. Send me a note. Find out what moves to take to get to the next step. What we do now is the number one task for what we're going to do. If you're in school, when you go get a job, they're going to look and see how you did in school. If I leave where I'm at now, the next employer is going to look at what I'm doing for this job. When somebody leaves Jimmy John's as a manager, whoever hires that person is going to look at what they did there. Yeah, they'll go look and see what we did before, but fundamentally what we're doing now is the most important thing for what we will do. So make sure that what you do now is properly stated and marketed on a resume or a CV don't know why they call them CVs now, but on a resume. And in an interview, they may sit and say, well, you're just folding clothes at a Kohl's. How does that matter? I'm doing a lot more than that. I'm working with a team. I have to do time management. I have to do inventory assessment. I need to know what's going on around me. If there's a customer, I have to walk away. So I'm doing task management. It's not just folding clothes and walking over to the next thing. Look at what you do from a holistic level. Summarize it, put it on paper, and then put it on a resume. And then when you have an interview, share that and explain it, because what you're doing now is the number one thing for the next thing you're doing. Again, this is a little bit off topic, but I think it's important. It's not technical, but it is on topic. It's not technical, but these are interpersonal skills that people need to know. And fundamentally and foremost, realize that you're not alone. We were all either there or we are there. And you're going to get through it, and you're going to succeed, and you're going to excel, and you're going to be happy, whether it's with cybersecurity or with something else. But realize it, and you're going to be just fine. Again, this is Cybersecurity Graybeard. I hope you found this helpful, and have a great day.